believe of it. However, she's not fond of him. Quite offish and quite careless, I know." "I'm not so sure of that. She's a handsome woman, Pennyways, is she not? Own that you never saw a finer or more splendid creature in your life. Upon my honour, when I set eyes upon her that day, I wondered what I could have been made of to be able to leave her by herself so long. And then I was hampered with that bothering show, which I'm free of at last, thank the stars." He smoked on a while, and then added, "How did she look when you passed by yesterday?" "Oh, she took no great heed of me, you may well fancy, but she looked well enough, far as I know. Just flashed her haughty eyes upon my poor scram body, then let them go past me to what was beyond, much as if I'd been no more than a leafless tree. She had just got off her mare to look at the last ring down of cider for the year. She had been riding, and so the colours were up and her breath rather quick, so that her bosom plimmed and fell, every time plain to my eye. Ay, and there were the fellers round her ringing down the cheese and bustling about and saying, 'Wear it upon me, ma'am, 'twill spoil your gown.' 'Never mind me,' says she. Then Gabe brought her some of the new cider, and she must needs go drinking it through a straw moat, and not in a natural way at all. 'Liddy,' says she, 'bring indoors a few gallons, and I'll make some cider wine.' Sergeant, I was no more to her than a morsel of scruff in the fuel house. I must go and find her out at once. Yes, I see that, I must go. Oak is head man still, isn't he?" "Yes, I believe. And at Little Weatherbury Farm too. He manages everything." "'Twill puzzle him to manage her, or any other man of his compass." "I don't know about that. She can't do without him, and knowing it well, he's pretty independent. And she've a few soft corners to her mind, though I've never been able to get into one. The devil's in it. Ah, Bailey, she's a notch above you, and you must own it. A higher class of animal, a finer tissue. However, stick to me, and neither this haughty goddess, dashing piece of womanhood, Juno, wife of mine—Juno was a goddess, you know—or anybody else shall hurt you. But all this wants looking into, I perceive. What with one thing and another, I see that my work is well cut out for me." 5. "How do I look to-night, Liddy?" said Bathsheba, giving a final adjustment to her dress before leaving the glass. "I never saw you look so well before. Yes, I'll tell you when you look like it. That night, a year and a half ago, when you came in so wild-like, and scolded us for making remarks about you and Mr. Troy." "Everybody will think that I'm setting myself to captivate Mr. Boldwood, I suppose," she murmured. "At least they'll say so. Can't my hair be brushed down a little flatter? I dread going, yet I dread the risk of wounding him by staying away." "Anyhow, ma'am, you can't well be dressed any plainer than you are, unless you go in a sackcloth at once. 'Tis your excitement is what makes you look so noticeable to-night." "I don't know what's the matter. I feel wretched at one time and buoyant at another. I wish I could have continued quite alone as I have been for the last year or so, with no hopes and no fears, and no pleasure and no grief." "Now just suppose Mr. Boldwood should ask you, only just suppose it, to run away with him. What would you do, ma'am?" "Liddy, none of that," said Bathsheba gravely. "Mind, I won't hear joking on any such matter. Do you hear?" "I beg pardon, ma'am, but knowing what rum things we women be, I just said—however, I won't speak of it again." "No marrying for me yet for many a year, if ever. 'Twill be for reasons very, very different from those you think, or others will believe. Now get my cloak, for it's time to go." 6. "Oak," said Boldwood, "before you go I want to mention what has been passing in my mind lately. That little arrangement we made about your share of the farm, I mean. That share is small, too small, considering how little I attend to business now, and how much time and thought you give to it. Well, since the world is brightening for me, I want to show my sense of it by increasing your proportion in the partnership. I'll make a memorandum of the arrangement which struck me as likely to be convenient, for I haven't time to talk about it now, and then we'll discuss it at our leisure. My intention is ultimately to retire from the management altogether, and until you can take all the expenditure upon your shoulders, I'll be a sleeping partner in the stock. Then, if I marry her, and I feel I shall, why—" "Pray, don't speak of it, sir," said Oak hastily. "We don't know what may happen. So many upsets may befall 'ee. There's many a slip, as they say, and I would advise you—I know you'll pardon me this once—not to be too sure." "I know, but the feeling I have about increasing your share is on account of what I know of you. Oak, I have learnt a little about your secret. Your interest in her is more than that of a bailiff for an employer, but you have behaved like a man. And I, as a sort of successful rival, successful partly through your goodness of heart, should like definitely to show my sense of your friendship, under what must have been a great pain to you." "Oh, that's not necessary, thank ye," said Oak hurriedly. "I must get used to such as that. Other men have, and so shall I." Oak then left him. He was uneasy on Boldwood's account, for he saw and knew that this constant passion of the farmer made him not the man he had once been. As Boldwood continued a while in his room alone, ready and dressed to receive his company, the mood of anxiety about his appearance seemed to pass away, and to be succeeded by a deep solemnity. He looked out of the window, and regarded the dim outline of the trees upon the sky and the twilight deepening to darkness. He went to a locked closet, and took from a locked drawer therein a small circular case the size of a pill-box, and was about to put it in his pocket. But he lingered to open the cover and take a momentary glance inside. It contained a woman's finger-ring, set all the way round with small diamonds, and from its appearance had evidently been recently purchased. Boldwood's eyes dwelt upon its many sparkles a long time, though that its material aspect concerned him little was plain from his manner and mien, which were those of a mind following out the presumed thread of that jewel's future history. The noise of wheels at the front of the house became audible. Boldwood closed the box, stowed it away carefully in his pocket, and went out upon the landing. The old man, who was his indoor factotum, came at the same moment to the foot of the stairs. "They be coming, sir. Lots of 'em, afoot and a-driving. I was coming down this moment. Those wheels I heard. Is it Mrs. Troy?" "No, sir, 'tis not she yet." A reserved and sombre expression had returned to Boldwood's face again, but it poorly cloaked his feelings when he pronounced Bathsheba's name, and his feverish anxiety continued to show its existence by a galloping motion of his fingers upon the side of his thigh as he went down the stairs. 7. "How does this cover me?" said Troy to Pennyways. "Nobody would recognize me now, I'm sure." He was buttoning on a heavy grey overcoat of Noatian cut, with cape and high collar, the latter being erect and rigid, like a girdling wall, and nearly reaching the verge of the travelling cap, which was pulled down over his ears. Pennyways snuffed the candle, and then looked up and deliberately inspected Troy. "You've made up your mind to go, then?" he said. "Made up my mind? Yes, of course I have." "Why not write to her? 'Tis a very queer corner that you've got into, Sergeant. You see, all these things will come to light if you go back, and they won't sound well at all. Faith, if I was you, I'd even bide as you be, a single man, of the name of Francis. A good wife is good, but the best wife is not so good as no wife at all. Now that's my outspoke mind, and I've been called a long-headed feller here and there." "All nonsense," said Troy angrily. "There she is with plenty of money, and a house and farm and horses and comfort, and here am I, living from hand to mouth, a needy adventurer. Besides, it is no use talking now. It is too late, and I am glad of it. I have been seen and recognized here this very afternoon. I should have gone back to her the day after the fair, if it hadn't been for you talking about the law and rubbish about getting a separation, and I don't put it off any longer. What the deuce put it into my head to run away at all, I can't think. Humbugging sentiment, that's what it was. But what man on earth was to know that his wife would be in such a hurry to get rid of his name? I should have known it. She's bad enough for anything. And Pennyways, mind who you were talking to." "Well, Sergeant, all I say is this, that if I were you I'd go abroad again where I came from. 'Tisn't too late to do it now. I wouldn't stir up the business and get a bad name for the sake of living with her, for all that about your play acting is sure to come out, you know, although you think otherwise. My eyes and nims, there'll be a racket if you go back just now, in the middle of Boldwood's Christmasing." Yes, I expect I shall not be a very welcome guest if he has got her there," said the sergeant with a slight laugh. "A sort of Alonzo the Brave. And when I go in the guests will sit in silence and fear, and all laughter and pleasure will be hushed, and the lights in the chamber burn blue, and the worms— Oh, horrible! Ring for some more